Hello and welcome back to Nitecap. I'm Josh Rimmer. Sitting in the co-hosting chair, I guess we could say, is former NHLer, two-time Stanley Cup champion, and holikonhockey.com is the website that you run. Bobby Holik joining us. Bobby, thanks for taking the time to be with us.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Bobby, first I got to ask you, what are your thoughts on the NHL and NHLPA bringing in a mediator for this past week's meeting? Obviously, nothing really got done. Were you surprised that nothing happened?
No, I was not surprised at all. I thought it was a waste of time. We are still in a time where they are making these PR moves. Mm-hmm. You know, it's still posturing. It's hard to believe we are in over 2 months into the lockout, and both sides are still setting themselves up for true negotiations. I think when all that dies down, when we actually won't know if the meetings are going on or not. But I don't know if we're ever going to get to him this year, because it doesn't seem like the owners have any intention to negotiate. They just want to get their deal done without really negotiating.
Now, did you ever even imagine that we would still be sitting on the sidelines right now?
Yeah, pretty much. About a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, about January, February of last year, when the league came out, Bettman came out, Commissioner Bettman started talking about the growth, the revenue growth, and the record, revenue growth. I'm like, well, maybe common sense will prevail and we'll have a season. But by August, that was all forgotten, and it was just down to business. And basically, it's nothing but greed, because it's the money pie has grown, and they just want a bigger slice of it.
Definitely. I'm surprised that we're still not playing.
If I may add,
Sure.
I've done a lot of media interviews or just debates, and you guys at this point you are a fan wishing that there's a season.
That's true.
You have to stay objective, because there's absolutely no sign, and there has not been a sign since August that there's going to be a season. There's going to be hockey. Just if you objectively look at it without really thinking as a fan, we all fans. We all love the game. We are passionate about it. But you have to separate that and look at it. Have I seen anything that tells me that there's going to be a season eventually? No. The answer is no.
Now, do you think everyone's talking about decertification right now? That's been coming up a lot. Do you think the players would actually go ahead and decertify? It's
an option.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to happen. I think a lot is going to be decided next week on Wednesday with the Board of Governors meeting. If we're going to see, after the meeting, if we're going to see a unified Board of Governors staying the course, I don't think there's going to be a season. If we're going to see some kind of a deviation from their current course, and they're going to actually make an attempt to negotiate, that tells me that some of the moderate owners actually had a voice in that room. But I don't have any hopes of that happening. I think it's the Board of Governors being run by 2 or 3 hardline owners. We all know who they are, and they disregarding the hockey world. They just wanted to get their deal done, and nothing else matters.
Do you think that there's any owners out there that are not like the hardliners that want to play hockey and want to give the players a little bit better of a deal?
There's a majority of them.
Yeah.
I say there's 20 of them, 25.
Really?
It all takes is a commissioner and 2 or 3 of the hardline owners, and I think that's where we are. There's I believe there's at least 15 to 20 moderate owners who are very happy with the way things are, or the way things have been, or they will be. But again, 2 or 3 of the experienced hardline with the seniority on the Board of Governors are running the non-negotiation. I don't want to say negotiation, because it hasn't been done much.
That's true. That's true. And Bobby, now the thing is, everyone's talking about Bettman throwing out there, okay, how about the players and the owners meet, and that's it. I talked to a player earlier today, and he thought that again, they're just trying to delay the process so they could go to the Board of Governors meetings and have their meeting. They're not. It's basically a delay. It's PR, just like the whole bringing in the media.
It's posturing. It's public relations spins. Hiring Frank Luntz a month ago. It's just a waste. It's not a waste of time. That's part of their strategy, which is faulty. Their strategy is exactly the same as it was 8 years ago at the start of previous lockout, but the players are much more aware, much more solidified, and much more unified. So that the strategy from previous lockout isn't very likely not going to work this time around, and it's unfortunate that there was a couple huge miscalculations by the owners, like by signing the players to those great extensions just before the lockout started. They were anticipating there's going to be a rollback. Well, that's off the table now. That's a thorn in Jeremy Jacobs' side and a couple other owners. They cannot believe it. That's not going to happen. And there's also they believe that they could character assassinate Don Fehr and start dividing the union. That hasn't happened either. All their strategy that worked on Bob Goodenow and the union previously is not working this time around. But they're not changing the course. And that's why I feel that unless the moderate owners have a voice, there will not be a season.
Interesting. Now, everyone's talking again that I think Todd Bertuzzi and Dan Cleary even said that this could even go over into next year, that we could be not seeing hockey for a year and a half.
I don't see that happening. I think if there's another season canceled, eventually Gary Bettman will resign or move on. I don't see his future, whether he gets a deal done, whether he doesn't. I think his future is short-lived as a commissioner of NHL, because for the owners to repair the relationship with the fans, they're going to have to give something up.
Yeah.
Sacrifice something. I think it's going to be Commissioner Gary Bettman, and fans will be happy. They want him gone. I respect his work. He's done a great job for the owners. I think he's made changes to the game, or he tried, that I don't agree with. But again, I'm not in charge of the whole league. He's not either.
Yeah.
Very few owners are, but he represents the owners. And again, he's done a great job. Not my kind of great.
Yeah.
But eventually, I believe he's going to be the sacrificial lamb to heal the relationship between the fans and the game.
Well, this is definitely the fourth work stoppage now that Gary Bettman has been a part of. That definitely says a lot about what he's done as commissioner. Now, you brought up the former players and former deals. What do you think of the former players coming out recently talking about telling the current players, hey, you should take this deal right now?
I've talked to some players, and they are very adamant about, it's not worth it, take the deal, don't lose a year playing.
Yeah.
And I've talked to others who might not agree with the players' approach today, but they respect it.
Yeah.
Just like there was other players respected our approaches in 04, 05, 94, 95, 92 strike. I've been part of all that. So I think it's time for the former players, just like former U.S. presidents should not interfere with the current president's business, just stay out of it. Respect their way of doing things, respect their agenda, and also realize that for us to have all that success and the longevity we had, and the salary increase we had, somebody else had to sacrifice. So the current players are sacrificing not only for themselves, but for the players who come after them. And if they give in too easily, they're just teaching the owners that every time they want to change, they just squeeze them a little tighter, and the players will break. So it's not about today, not only about today, it's about long-term relationship or lack of it between the ownership and the players.
And Don Fehr, what do you think of the job Don Fehr's done as the executive director of the NHLPA?
I think he was a great choice when he was hired.
Yeah.
I think what he's trying to do is to teach or allow the Players Association basically exist without another Don Fehr or Paul Kelly or Bob Goodenow. This way, it's kind of a self-sufficient unit. The players handle it themselves, and I think it's a good thing, because he doesn't have that really. Everybody's like, oh, it's on the Don Fehr's or Gary Bettman. None of that is true. It's the hardline owners and it's the players. So Don Fehr just represents that. He helps to give them guidance through his experience in the Major League Baseball and etc. So just like Gary Bettman, he represents the owners. He's not telling them what to do. He suggests, but it's the 2-3 owners who make the ultimate decision. So Don Fehr has done a great job, and I think he's gonna go down to history as a very important part of this process where the Players Association became stronger.
Bobby Holik joining us, former NHLer, 2-time Stanley Cup champion. HolikOnHockey.com is the website to check out Bobby's blogs and stuff on there as well. Bobby, it just seems that, like you said, probably not going to have hockey this year. Is there something that what would you like to see the NHL do or the NHL players do? How do we get a deal done? What needs to be done here in your opinion?
I think there's got to be an intent to negotiate from the owners. The players have come down already 7%. They've made concessions just like we did 8 years ago. Okay, players want to play, but yes, they are in KHL, they are in Switzerland, they are other places, but it's only because they cannot play here. Their first choice is to play in the National Hockey League, playing against the best. They were locked out again, third time in 17, 18 years, which is unheard of in professional sports. So to me, owners didn't go into this to negotiate. Their first option or first thing they wanted to do is the lockout. There was no other options to see if the union will cave in. No, they have not, and they don't have any other plan. They don't have any strategy. So I think next week's Board of Governors will tell us whether they're going to change the course or not. And I'm not saying that there's not going to be a season. I wish there was, but I just don't see, if I look at it objectively, not as a fan, I don't see any signs that there's going to be season. So to me, it's just a lack of desire on the owner's side to actually negotiate, compromise, when players already compromise enough. And I know there's a lot of people who are blaming both sides, and they're both, equally guilty of nothing is that easy.
Well, I noticed one thing from the past lockout is you had a lot of the media members and the general public on the owner's side. They wanted a salary cap. Now it almost seems like a lot of media members I'm seeing now are kind of taking the player's side. Why do you think a lot of members of the media and even the public have shifted towards the players' side?
You must be reading or following different media than I am, because most of the Canadian media, the writers and the media people I follow on Twitter are they're not blatantly open, but they are basically extension of the league's PR arm, because PR department, because when they want the sources, when they want the news, they call up the league and they're gonna get it. In return, they have to support their agenda. And I think we lack integrity in any kind of journalism. It's not just sports or hockey journalism. It's journalism in general. And there's a whole bunch of people who are on my Twitter, and they are working for TV networks or media outlets in Canada. And they are just, it's like reading PR releases from the NHL. I don't like it. And there's a very, very few guys who are trying to be objective, and they have the integrity. And then people call them, you are a pro player. No, when you're objective in a very subjective environment, you look like you are you lean one way or the other. And again, it's not just a sports or hockey problem, it's all across the media. I'm a huge history buff. I'm a media whore, and that's my interest. I like to follow it and decide on my own. And I believe there's just too much subjectivism, because everybody wants to protect their sources. But when you have so many sources that you cannot objectively report anymore, what's the point? You should have one source that you protect, maybe two, but the rest of it should be fair game. There's no such a thing as fair game anymore. I can, maybe Larry Brooks from New York Post or Adam Perreault from the Hockey News. Those are two guys who are
actually, as well.
They're trying to objectively report with some integrity. Otherwise, I don't like it.
I mean, one thing that I notice, this is the reason why I'm kind of siding with the players right now, is because right before the CBA ended, the past CBA ended, you had the Minnesotas throwing out hundreds of millions of dollars. You had Jeremy Jacobs going and throwing out lots of millions of dollars to sign his players. I think Chris Kelly got a big deal. And
Milan Lucic got an extension.
Milan Lucic, Tyler Seguin. Go down the list. There were a lot of guys that got big deals, and there were some guys that got 6-year deals in Edmonton. Taylor Hall got a 6-year deal. Jordan Eberle got a 6-year deal. So you had all these millions of dollars going out, and then we're crying poor right when it ends. So I could kind of see, why the players should get that money, because those are the deals that they signed.
I don't want anybody to be pro this or pro that. Just check your facts. That's all. That's all I'm asking. Be open-minded and do your homework. I don't want people to lean on one new media outlet and it's like, oh, this is the way it is. And again, I'm finding that out in the United. I live in the States.
Yes.
And there's a core following of one channel, or one cable news network, and then there's another core following of the other cable news, and it's the same thing in hockey. People follow TSN or the hockey news or this or that.
Yeah.
No, be open-minded, do your homework, and try to learn as much as you can. Of course, it's harder for the fans because they're not on the inside. But if they would follow you or me on Hooligan Hockey, they would learn more.
Exactly. Bobby Holik joining us, former NHLer, two-time Stanley Cup champion. Now, Bobby, there's been speculation out there that a couple of minor agreements have been made with some issues. One being the free agency day being moved to June the 15th, or 2 days after the Stanley Cup Finals. What would you think about them moving the July 1st free agency period?
I don't think it matters, because by the time, June 15th, July 1st, agents are ready, the players are ready. Even the players who play in the Stanley Cup Finals, listen, that's such an important time of your career. You could be finishing, whether you lose in the finals, you win in the finals, you're ready.
Yeah.
2 days later, believe me, there's nothing more important at the time than get a team to sign you or get a contract that you want and agree on it. So, there's no reason for a 2-week period to wait. Let's get it done, and let's get it done quick, because as I said, by the time the free agents come down, if you don't know what is going to be out there, you shouldn't be in that position.
And the other thing too, Bobby, is that they're talking about is possibly having like a whole week so players can actually talk to teams before the deals are made. Is there a point in having a period like that?
I have no idea where these people are. Why? I think there's so much to do with the game itself.
Yeah.
Instead of tweaking these rules.
Yeah.
Like somebody last year would say, we need to penalize players more for closing the hand on the puck.
Yeah.
Really? Is that the problem with the game?
Yeah.
Is that the only thing we can do?
The red line.
Like this.
The hybrid icing.
I mean, I've written about it a couple times. My thing is enlarge the ice surface.
Yes.
Not Olympic size, halfway between currents, because the players have grown, I say, 30%, whether it's height-wise, weight-wise, since the 60s or 70s.
Yeah.
We're still playing on the same ice surface. The equipment is better. Everything's better and bigger and better, faster. While we're still playing on with this congested ice, open it up. Yeah, and you know what's going to happen? The great ones will be even better.
Yeah.
The bad ones will be even worse. And that's what we want. Don't we want the excellence to show?
Exactly. Well, you're gonna have a hard time though convincing the owners to do that, because
of course
they're gonna be have to take seats out.
That's why we have a third lockout in 10, 15 years, because they are very small-minded and lack the vision.
Now I want to talk to you about some of the players who have been. Because I guess social media is out there now, it gives players an open forum to be able to talk and kind of rip Gary Bettman. I've seen a lot of bashing of Gary Bettman this year, something we didn't see much of in the last lockout. The Twitter, there was no such thing as Twitter then. I think Facebook was just starting up, and no one was really big into it. But I mean, you got guys like Ian White. Called Gary Bettman an idiot. You had Christopher Stieg use the word cancer in describing Gary Bettman and Bill Daly. What do you think of some of the players being very vocal and throwing the insults?
As I said, I respect Gary Bettman's work because he's done great for the owners. Mm-hmm. I never liked the way he wanted to improve or change the game.
Yes.
I thought the game has been as good as ever.
Mm-hmm.
The positive changes that happened, they were not Gary Bettman's idea. But I would not go out in public. Mm-hmm. There's one thing to think it and talk about amongst the players in the locker room or around a campfire or wherever.
Yeah.
But going in public and call people names, that's just not intellectual way to handle it.
Yes.
Okay? I'm not talking about geniuses here. We're talking about hockey players. But still, don't let the emotions get the best of you. You look weak when you start calling people names. Yeah. That's weak.
Exactly.
And so I don't agree with it, but at the same time, I don't want anybody to tell me what I can or cannot say. So they're allowed to do what they need to do. And you know what the consequences? People are like, well, that was really silly, to put it nicely.
And another player had some interesting comments, but it was kind of the other direction. What did you think of what Roman Hamrlik said about Donald Fehr, and also how frustrated he is that we're not playing hockey right now?
Well, everybody's frustrated.
Yeah.
As I told you, you can play in the KHL, you can play in Swiss, you can make a lot of money. You don't have to make any money. You can just cover your insurance. Or some players play in Czech. They're having a great time on the ice, but their first choice would be NHL.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's frustrated. Roman Hamrlik is allowed to say whatever he wants. Almost 20 years in the league. He's paid his dues. Again, I'm the one who loves to always loved to express his opinions.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want anybody to tell me what I should say or not. So if he was a 20-year-old player, I would have a problem with it. But somebody who's been around for that long, and it's not about money. He's got enough money to live very comfortably for the rest of his life. It's about him wanting to play again. You know, this is last year on his contract. Is he going to get another contract if there's no season? Who knows?
Yeah.
I've talked to other players in his position, and they are hoping that there's at least half a season so they can show they can still do it. Again, when you're 35, 37, 38, it's not about money. You want to play another half a year. You want to play another 60, 80 games. That's what it's about. You know, and Roman Hamrlik, and I think it's healthy for the association as it would be healthy for the owners to be able to say how they really feel.
Yeah.
But they have a gag order on them. So it's a very, very tense situation. I think it was a good thing that I don't necessarily agree with Roman, but I think it's a good thing that he speak up because he feels a lot better today, and I think we all feel better because at least the players can speak while the owners are kept quiet.
Well, Bobby, appreciate you stopping by. Before we let you go, tell us a little bit what's going on at holygonhockey.com.
Very slow. It's very slow. You know, we haven't done much because nothing has happened. I wasn't going to write about all the nonsense about posturing and PR spins. It's I'd rather get on your show or just tweet here and there some, some predictions. But it's becoming so boring this time of the year or the lockout altogether that I have other projects and I'm just not into. I was just watching some junior hockey, which I enjoy. Because I just want to see some action. I don't want to see talking heads on TV telling me what they haven't done.
Yeah.
Tell me when you've done something.
You watch any other sports to kind of get
no, I'm not a sports guy.
Football or anything?
No, I have. I'm a tremendous history buff and reader. So between family and my daughter's hobby and my other hobbies and other projects, there's no time for sport. No, sports is. I played it.
Yeah.
I don't have to watch it.
You ever talk history with Ken Hitchcock at all? He's a big history buff.
No, I don't think he was not a big fan of me when I played, and we haven't seen each other much when since I retired. But as I said, I spend a lot of time thinking, debating, and talking history with friends and even people I don't know. I just bring it up and also tremendous amount of time I spend reading.
One last question, actually, before we let you go. You played with the Rangers. You played with the Devils. What do you think about the New York Islanders moving to Brooklyn here in the next couple of years?
I think it can't hurt.
Yeah.
Because it's just got awful on the island. That Nassau Coliseum is terrible. I mean, they got possibly 2 more seasons.
Yeah.
That place was bad to go to in the early 90s. It's just a terrible location, terrible arena, terrible team for now, almost decade and a half.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about it. So maybe it gives them a fresh start. I don't think they're going to do much better performance-wise, but maybe the buzz will be better. But again, they need to really change things around. Not player personnel-wise. I think it's the top level that they need some improvements because it's not good for hockey.
Awesome. Bobby, thanks so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. When you're in town, you're more than welcome to come by again.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was Bobby Holik joining us on the program. We're going to head to break. Coming up in hour number 2, we have the news of the day, and we'll have some other great stuff coming up here on the Nightcap. Don't go away.